And to break it all down is who else but NBC's Steve Kornacki. And where, of course, would we find him but the big board? Hey there, Steve. It is so good to see you on this Monday. So what did we find in the poll when we tested these two messages against each other? What do your numbers show?
Yeah, it's interesting, Kristen. You look at some of the specific advantages Democrats and Republicans have on these particular issues in our poll. If you try to kind of package them together into sort of a platform and run it by voters, this is an interesting thing we did in this poll here. We invented a candidate Jones, and we invented another candidate Smith. And we didn't say anything about what party one or the other was from, but I think you can see here, candidate Jones, we described to poll respondents this way: somebody running on emphasizing issues such as lowering health care costs, ensuring corporations pay a fair share, standing up for democracy, rejecting election lies, opposing abortion bans, ensuring the right to make health care decisions. It's sort of a platform here for candidate Jones. And when you offered voters that platform, 46% said, yeah, I'll vote for candidate Jones, as opposed to candidate Smith running on a platform that looks like this: gas and grocery prices getting too high, hurting Americans, rise in violent crime, migrants crossing the border illegally, COVID lockdowns leading to educational disadvantages for children, and just the overall message that you hear of change needed. And when you offer that platform versus that platform, 32% for the Smith platform, 46% for the Jones platform. Again, we're not telling voters here one of these is something you're more likely to be hearing from a Democrat, one is something you're more likely to be hearing from a Republican. But it is, I think, interesting when you put these sets of issues, put these sort of sets of priorities together. One of the reasons, perhaps, because we are talking about, the expectations coming into this year of Democrats as the White House party being at a disadvantage. One of the reasons why that generic ballot might be tied right now is this sort of cumulative set of issues does seem to offer them a bit of an advantage.
And Steve, it's so fascinating. Of course, I just want to underscore this point that you're making, that we did not associate these two names with either party. So when you look at these numbers, Steve, what do you make of the disparity? What's the takeaway here for both parties now, 50 days out from voters going to the polls?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a clue here. There's a clue here just in terms of, again, you hear a lot of the messages you're seeing here from the candidate Jones side from Democrats. You hear a lot of the messages from the candidate Smith side from Republicans. And one of the things we've been kind of puzzling over the last few months is that Democrats have improved in terms of their standing heading in. A lot of indicators have improved for Democrats in terms of their standing heading into November. I think sometimes, the best thing to do is just zoom out and focus, as you showed at the top here, on that generic ballot and think for a second that 46-46 Democrats versus Republicans. I think it tells you two things. Number one, the way we just laid it out doesn't automatically mean that every voter sees it that way. They may define the difference between the two parties differently. They may identify each party with different messages, different ideas than that. But I think the fact that it's 46-46 in September, if you went back to 2018, to 2014, and to 2010, those are the last three midterm elections, and each one of them was a wave election, right? The wave election against Donald Trump in 18 and two wave elections against Obama in 14 and 10. If you looked at the polling average at this point in all of those elections, there was a clear advantage to the opposition party. And we see 46-46. What we're seeing in this poll is different than what we saw at this same point in the last three midterm elections. Those were all wave elections. Republicans have been counting on this year being a wave election. We're 50 days out, and we're asking, is it going to be that at all? Or is this going to be one of those sort of midterm elections that really does defy history?
Yeah, we will have to see. One of the data points that makes it a real nail biter. Steve, thank you so much for breaking those numbers down. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.